What is up, everybody? I am here with eliminated player number 5 from the Traitors OCG. How's it going?
Why you gotta say it like that, Nick?
It's just the facts,
Or it
unfortunately.
is a fact. All right, I'm doing well though. Not too bad. Not too bad. Feeling good.
Well, I want to talk about your game and just the game in general, but I want to circle back to the beginning, of course, because you actually started this game at the last minute. I needed one last player. Fun fact, actually, Alex was supposed to play. He dropped out last minute. So I was like, I need to find someone last minute. Let's see if Dot would do it. And he did it last minute. So you were Alex's replacement.
I'm mad that you asked Alex first, though. That's what I'm most
Well,
upset.
he played less games than you, to be fair. So I was
All right,
trying.
yeah.
In fact, I
Right.
think you hold the record for most games played on the
Oh
channel.
God, with no wins. That's not. Let's not talk about that.
Fair enough.
Goodness.
But going into this game, what were you expecting? It felt like you came in thinking it was going to be like online survival, but it was a lot different. So how did that go for you?
Yeah, I honestly had no idea. I didn't know. I hadn't watched the show Traitors. Like you said, I kind of came into the show last minute, so I was just down to play whatever the game was. I feel like I definitely came in playing like a survivor game, but I think when I saw Mike, I just like my spidey senses started tingling, and I just knew that I would have to start getting ready to grapple. So yeah, I was scared of him up front, to be honest, and I thought I had to take him out early.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to Mike. Did you expect the game would be more cutthroat though? It's a little less cutthroat, at least as a faithful.
Yeah, I definitely less cutthroat. I think it's just the social aspect of things, knowing that somebody's lying to your face, but you have no idea what it is, even though you're paying super attention. It's just so interesting. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play for sure.
Now speaking of Mike, he was your first person that you saw that you felt uneasy about. I don't think you knew Jason and Dara, right? No.
Mm-mm.
So where Mike is concerned, was it just because you play with him? Was it because of the whole "I'm the best because I beat you in trivia" thing? What was it about Mike?
Yo, I actually respect Mike for that reaction. I'm a passionate dude too, So I was on the wrong end of it, but hey, you won. Celebrate, man. You definitely deserve it. Um, but it wasn't really saltiness, I would say, not like usual. I'm just scared of the dude, man. I know he's a strong player. It's the same with like when I play Fan Guy or whenever I played with Q back in the day. I just immediately start seeing them as a threat. And my game plan is always to get rid of the biggest threat first because I feel like they're gonna win, and I'm trying to win. So yeah, I'm just those are just the strong players that I'm intimidated by, if I'm being honest.
And then what didn't help was that Drea thought that she heard that Mike was talking about the 4 or 5 people that he trusted, but she didn't realize that she walked in on him talking about sports teams. And then it didn't help that there was actually 4 or 5 people in the room when she came into the room. And then she spread that. How did you feel about watching that back?
Yo, it was nuts. It's crazy because all through the show, I'm like, yo, Drea heard something. Mike's lying about it. Mike be lying all the time. We gotta get rid of this dude, right? But it turns out like she made the whole thing up. She made the whole thing up. So man, it was just crazy. And I couldn't really understand what was going on because she confronted Mike in front of me. So they were talking about starting the rumor. I felt like Drea started the rumor, right? And then I told Raven, and then however else. But then she started to put it on me, and I just couldn't understand how that was possibly my fault. I was scared it was going to lead to something terrible, but lucky enough, everyone was just tired of talking about it. We talked about it for like days and days and days, so
Yeah.
we had to find something else to talk about.
Let's go back to Rachel. She was in your first group. I think she was one of the first people you suspected. Was it because she was quiet? Because there was this whole thing throughout the game about the quiet people.
Yeah, she was honestly, I could tell she was a brain. She made me think of Elizabeth from Online Survivor.
Okay.
She's a smart cat, right? So right from the front, I watched her observing everybody. It's like very closely, I was watching her. Whenever somebody asked me if I played a game before, or if I watched the game or something, if they had watched the game, I said which one. right? And nobody else really cared, but Rachel was the one that was like, so how many games have you been on? Right. So I just kind of knew from the jump that she was a smart character and was paying a lot of attention and that she could definitely be a threat because, she's so smart.
And then Amy was a quiet word person too, but it seemed like you guys had a good relationship. And even on her exit interview, she talked about liking to play with you. So, what was about Amy that you guys hit it off?
You know, I don't know. You just get a certain vibe. I felt like I was already kind of frazzled by the way that the game was going and rumors and hearing my name and hearing other people's names. And so just talking to Amy and it not really being too much about that, we're kind of just able to share information and chat a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like in general she's easygoing and easy to talk to. So yeah, it was all love.
When the quiet players started dropping, if you could remember, or just from watching it back, 'cause it's been like 6 or 7 months since we played this, but did it make you think, oh, maybe I should look at the louder people, like someone like Ashley?
No, no. I'm always hoping that we're going after the quiet players because I can't help but be so eccentric, right? So I feel like if the tide starts turning towards like, all right, these louder guys, we need to watch out for them, well, then I'm in trouble. So I'm always going to try to find the person that I think is just watching and sitting back. Dar. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's a good transition to Dar. You did have your suspicions about Dar that if he was a traitor, he would be hard to figure out, and that might have might be what led to your demise.
No.
But what was it about Dar?
I mean, just that. I mean, to be real, I didn't really suspect him. I really didn't. I was just looking at everybody and I couldn't really figure out anything really. Nothing was really lining up the way that I thought it would. And so I was just making a thought that I was like, you know what? Even if it was Dar, I would have nothing to go off of. Right. He just looks the same all the time. Um, no idea that he actually was a traitor and that me kind of like zoning in on him over time is probably the reason why he knocked me out. So, I don't know. I actually wasn't as aware as you may have thought I was.
Fair enough. Well, that as Dar may have thought you were, I
Right.
guess. He's the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that pushed for your demise.
Ugh.
Um, how about Al? Did you ever suspect her? She was the first person to ask you, "Oh, didn't you play before?"
No, I felt like out of all the traders, she was the most surprising. And I was really stuck on that vote against Amancio, right? I feel like if it was a trader, it would have been so easy. That's what any trader would want to do is just easily knock somebody out. So the fact that she was actually speaking her mind about somebody else, I was like, all right, she must be a faithful who's trying to really figure out what's going on. It was really funny to see that she was like questionable about that move because it worked really well. I mean, she fooled me 100%. So big shout outs to Elle. I mean, that was a really smart play.
Yeah, you're not the only one. That seemed to get a lot of people to respect her in the game. There's been some debate on the podcast lately as, oh, was that the right move because of some of the aftermath, because of Ashley leaving the game? But so you're saying that it was a good move for Al.
I thought it was risky. It was definitely risky, but I think it was a good move and definitely put a target on Lawrence back. So I think that it did end up being successful. I don't know if I would have done it, but hey, big ups.
Speaking of Lauren, when Lauren said, "Oh, I'm Megan's friend," did that make you want to work with Lauren or no?
It did, like I feel like I fuck with Meg so heavy. So I feel like if you know Meg, then I'm down with you already. But she was the one I was most suspicious of, like number one public enemy. So I was like, like I feel like I have love for you, but also there was never really a chance of us like working together because I sincerely thought that like she was a traitor, specifically because of Elle, right?
Uh,
And then we did end up noticing that Ashley never talked bad about Lauren. So I was like, oh, that's easy. It's obviously Lauren. Obviously not. That was my best bet there.
how about your relationship with Raven? That it started really well. You had some doubts, and then it got well again. What was it about Raven and yours relationship?
Yeah, I think everybody said it. She has great energy. She's so cool, so chill. She's very authentic, right? So I thought that if she was a traitor, she wouldn't really be able to fake it very well. But the truth is, as the chats grew, and I don't know if you could really see it too much on the show, but she was getting a lot more quiet, a little bit more awkward. And I was like, okay, it kind of looks like she may be hiding something and is struggling to be authentic with it, right? So, she was acting weird. And then later on, she was explaining why, because she's just like an awkward person sometimes. And I could see her being authentic again. So I was like, maybe, maybe she's clean. Who knows? Maybe she's a faithful. So I don't know. I feel like out of all the people, I was most up and down about her. I couldn't really figure her out.
Well, 2 episodes before your demise, you started to come up with this plan that I liked about finding the people that you trust and just having to work with them. Jason seemed to be the person you felt strongest about not being a faithful. Why?
Jason not being a faithful?
Jason being a faithful, sorry.
Oh, right. I was like, did I? Yes. I mean, same with Raven at first. He was just so authentic. He was so adamant about finding that fucking traitor. I felt like if he was a traitor, he'd be the best actor ever. Like I was like, there's no way it's him, no way. And it was refreshing to see that it wasn't, because I would have thought I was just a dumbass if it ended up being him.
You even started to try and work on your relationship with Mike a little bit, trying to trust him. I don't know if you ever fully trusted him, but he seemed to want to work with you too. Do you think you guys could have worked together as the game went along?
I think so. I definitely think we could have done some good work together. We could have definitely like combined some votes and made change in the game. Because sincerely, once I realized like, oh snap, this isn't online Survivor. The way that Mike was running the game, I was like, I better run with the tide. I'm not really in a good place to try to go against Mike in any way. There's not really a reason to, right? So I figured, I would just work with him, try to like build a relationship, make sure that we're on good terms and that kind of thing. But as the game kept going, I just started to be more and more suspicious of him. He kept making moves that I was like, that's kind of what a traitor would do, Mike. But hey, I definitely would have though. Definitely would have.
How about Lori? We haven't talked about Lori. What was Lori like in the game, or watching her back, all of her notes?
Right. Oh my God, I love Lori. I have so much love for Lori, even in the chat during the live shows. I love her energy on the chat, right? I was honestly 50-50, right on the line. I was like, she's so sweet. There's no way it could be her. She's so authentic. 8 grandkids, 10 grandkids, 7, however many grandkids it was, right? But then I was like, but that's such an easy like facade to have, right? Because she was smart. She was smart. So I feel like she could play the sweet grandma if she wanted to. So I really couldn't figure it out. I thought there was a pretty good chance that it could be her. She's smart enough. Smart enough.
Before you got eliminated, who were your was she like one of your main people you still thought was a traitor?
I don't know. I was really stuck on Lauren. I felt like after I got Lauren, then we could figure out the rest, right? And I think we ended up zoning in, which is kind of nuts, on process of elimination that was either going to be Dar, L, Lauren, or somebody else, right? And I was so stuck on Lauren, I did not even think that it could be Dar or L. I didn't make it that far yet.
Damn.
By the time I was figuring it out, Dar cut me out. So
yeah.
I never got that close. I was that close to getting that close.
Would you have rather that they tried to recruit you to be a traitor?
Yeah, I would have done it. I definitely would have done it. Definitely. I can understand why they thought that nobody would want to do it, because we were so serious about trying to figure out who it was. We were trying so hard. But I feel like you got to shake the game up sometimes, and I really don't think anybody would suspect me for whatever reason. So yeah, that would have been a lot of fun for sure. Damn it, Dar.
We haven't talked about Anthony. How did you feel about Anthony as a player?
Oh man, I was thinking about Anthony from Online Survival. I was like, oh God.
No, not that Anthony. Not that high energy person. Although this Anthony has energy too.
Yeah, man, I love Anthony. His energy is so dope. I love him because he seems like such a put together person. Like he has a strong identity in who he is, and it doesn't really waver, right? I think out of everybody, I was probably, but besides Jason, I was most sure that he wasn't faithful. Because again, I just can't see him not being authentic. He was trying really hard to figure out who he was. He kept peeping everybody's faces and checking everybody out. I know he was trying to figure it out. And he was so adamant about knowing that it was Mike. I was like, okay, like nobody would be that serious unless they really knew and wanted to figure it out. Because if you were a traitor, you wouldn't want to put that much attention on yourself, right? And he wasn't afraid to do it. So my best guess was he was a faithful, and he was really going to be a strong player and helping us figure out who it was, right?
And then, of course, how was playing with Drea, who was chaotic but fun to watch, throwing a lot of names out there at once, being Ashley's #1 alliance member.
Man, Drea was the wild card, huh? She's out of there. It's funny because like at the beginning, I thought she was the truth teller, but it turns out she was just trying to shake up the game and kind of do whatever she wanted. So when she had called me out a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. And it's funny because the first time she called me out, she's like, "You look kind of awkward right now." And I was like, "Yeah, I do. I do look awkward because I don't know how to act being blamed like this." But you know me, I get defensive. I have an ego. So like I was very upset. Like Jason was saying, I was very upset about her calling me out. I would have definitely like tried to push the issue that we should try to get her out afterwards. But honestly, whenever we found out Ashley was a traitor and she flipped and said, "Oh my gosh, I was so wrong," I was like, okay, I can really see that she's trying to figure it out. She's speaking her mind and she's not afraid to flip and be like, "Oh God, I was wrong." I feel like that was kind of a faithful move. So even though she was hating on your boy, I did respect her a lot, and I ended up thinking she was faithful for sure.
Well, now that you're offed, what do you think is going to happen? This next vote's going to be very chaotic. Do you think Lauren is this person that everybody's going to try and vote out because they feel like you do? Mike, a lot of people think it's Mike, though. Mike thinks it's Dar. He's pushing for Dar. Do you think he can get Dar voted out?
Man, so many things can happen, especially if another trade is added to the game. I mean, that would be nuts. But I think that it really depends, right? So I feel like I laid out a pretty good blueprint that there is only 4 possible traders there could be, and I had 2 of them pinned down. So if anybody was listening to me, maybe they can figure it out. I don't think I caught a lot of attention. I don't think Mike's going to be able to convince people it's Dar because people just don't feel bad about Dar. I think Lauren's next. I think most people are suspicious about her. I think Mike is too smart to get knocked out so early. He's going to find a way to twist and turn his way out of danger like he always does. So yeah, I think Elle and Dar are doing a great job. I think they make it pretty far. I think eventually they get caught, but it's going to take them like a few more episodes. People are going to be confused about it for real.
Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for the traitors or are you rooting for the faithful?
I'm rooting for the faithful, man. I'm rooting for the faithful.
Is that because Dar offed you?
Just, you know what? Well, of course I don't like it, right? But I don't have as much ill will for Dar. You know, I feel like he's playing his game well. He had to do what he had to do. I was getting on to him. I feel like normally I would be going for the traitors, but being a part of the game, it meant so much to us.
Yeah.
Like we were so invested. Jason was talking about, he was thinking about all day what he wanted to say. It's like, we are invested in this. So I want him to figure it out, man. Like Anthony wants to know big time. Drea wants to know big time. Like, you know, Mike's on track. Like, let's get it. Y'all get to it. I believe in y'all.
Well, do you have any final thoughts on the season or your game? You know, even Fan Guy liked your game this season on the podcast.
Oh, no, I gotta watch the podcast. Love the.
Well, maybe don't watch the first episode. He didn't like your game in the first episode, but maybe watch the following episodes.
Real talk. Well, love the Fan Guy first of all because you know we had our ups and downs, but he reached out to me and he's like, "It's all love," and I feel the same way, man. It's been years, and Fan Guy's a great person, right? Like he's cool as fuck. He just kicked my ass. But final thoughts. I mean, I think this is a super fun game. I think you have a good spread of a lot of different characters that bring a lot of different personalities. Um, I think it's going to start getting ugly. I think what we saw between Drea and Mike is going to start expanding. I think Anthony's going to bring some attitude coming forward. He's such a bold personality. I think somebody might cry. Maybe Raven will cry. Something. I mean, they might cry if they attack Raven. I don't know, but I do. I don't know what twists and turns you have up your sleeves, but something's going to get really emotional really quick, and I'm glad it's not going to be me this time.
Well, Dad, thank you for coming to the interview, and I hope you enjoyed playing. It is a fun game. I think Traitors might be
Yeah,
one of
it's
the most fun
awesome. It's
games.
awesome. I love it. Well, I'll come back and I'll try again for season 9. So maybe
Maybe your next game is your charm dot. You never know.
I believe it. I believe it. The eighth time of charms for we'll get it. We'll get it.
All right. Thank you, Dot,
Thanks
as
for the
well.
man. I really appreciate it. Thank you,
Of
man.
course.
All righty.